Welcome back, everyone, to the Arizona Diamondbacks franchise here on MLB The Show 19. Is today the Season 1 off-season video. Thanks for everyone for stopping to the premiere if you did make it. So, the Nationals did defeat the Cleveland Indians in a World Series. Both wildcard teams, the Angels and the Reds, made it to the conference finals. So, Howie Kendrick and Tyler Naquin win playoff MVPs for their respective conferences. And then the World Series MVP is Matt Adams getting his second ring. So, here's a look at the roster headed into the offseason. This team is going to get blown up, so enjoy one final look at this squad while you get it, because this team is going to be very different. And the offseason is officially here, starting with retirement. Of course, as we expected, Big Papa, Big Sexy Bartolo Colon is gone, along with Jose Lopez, and then other retirements. Albert Pujols is gone, Ichiro is gone, Curtis Granderson, Ben Zobrist, among others. And then there are some good free agents as well: Jose Bautista, Santiago Garcia, Chase Headley, Brandon Phillips. There were some really solid players who did end up retiring, mostly because of poor free agent markets, some because of age, I would assume, like Brandon Phillips, because he was pretty old, 36 or something. And then Ichiro and Albert Pujols do, of course, make the Hall of Fame. Very well deserved. Two of the best hitters of this generation for different reasons. Ichiro always getting on base, Pujols his mix of contact and power. So I guess we can do a little before and after with the lineup. Here is the starting lineup, and then the pitching rotation. Of course, Bartolo was that number 5 guy. Obviously, he is gone. So this team, let me warn you, is going to look very different for season number 2, which is definitely for the better. So there are 4 holes in the coaching staff: manager, hitting coach, pitching coach, and first base coach. So the new manager will be Brian Quinones, who is not great with allowing hits, but batting clutch +2, power clutch 2, arm strength +3. He looks really solid, so he's going to get a 2-year deal worth $7 million. A common theme in this offseason is not giving people long-term contracts, more short 1 to 2 year deals. The hitting coach is going to be former Detroit Tiger manager Brad Ausmus, 2 years, $3.5 million, +2 to drag bunting, +3 contact, +2 power. Not great with one of those other statistics, but he's still really solid. For pitching coach, Vladimir Beckham, -3 with break, but +1 to hits per 9, +1 to stamina and home runs per 9. And then first base coach will be Shane Conroy. Durability sort of an issue with him, but he is good with arm accuracy, speed, and stealing. So all 4 of them would end up accepting. And now on to exclusive negotiations. These guys will be unrestricted free agents this offseason. The big ones are Chris Davis and Wilmer Flores. And looking at Davis, he was originally part of that Zach Greinke deal to just be an expiring contract, let him go at the end of the year. But having a good power bat in the middle of your lineup, that's honestly not a bad idea. 33 home runs, 235, sort of a down year for him. But I think he is perfectly fit for the number 4 cleanup hitter. And then Wilmer Flores signed to a 1-year deal last offseason. The plan was originally just play the year with him, maybe look to flip him at the deadline, but he really played well down the stretch, and he's going to get a 2-year deal worth $11.4 million with a club option for the second year. Those other 3 guys would end up going. And then for this is for arbitration. Plenty of players will be getting arbitration. Robbie Ray would get it. David Peralta, $7 million for him. Jake Lamb would get about $5 million. Next up would be Archie Bradley. He's not getting arbitration. He's getting a full new contract extension, 4 years, about $29 million, one of the better young closers in baseball. Only $80,000 for Zach Godley, who's a starting pitcher. $5 million for Taijuan Walker. He was really solid last year. $950K for Matt Andriese. He was pretty good out of the pen. $850K for Kelby Tomlinson, solid utility guy. About $80K for Abraham Almonte, more of depth. So here are all the guys who got arbitration. Andrew Chafin and Nick Ahmed are the notable 2 who did not. Ahmed did go in free agency. He ended up signing with the Tampa Bay Rays. Chafin did end up returning to the organization. And then here are all the players who need contracts to be tendered. They don't have the MLB service to get arbitration. And then a bunch of them, of course, did get tendered contracts. Pretty much anyone who is a major league talent or important to the organization in any way. Robbie Scott did not get a tendered contract. I'm pretty sure he did come back as well. There might have been something on auto for whatever reason. I hope not. But it is what it is. He's going to likely be in AAA. And then the rest of these guys, pretty much everyone who was here was given a tendered contract. At least, I would say probably about 90% of these guys. Maybe a few weren't. So check this out. Look at the players' salaries. This doesn't include arbitration renewed contracts. But headed into the offseason, we are paying players $6 million next year. So this team can realistically spend big in free agency. The Diamondbacks do need some extra roster spots if you're trading 2 relievers for 1. Richard Lovelady from the Royals. So looking at players that they are offering, Marcell Ozuna from the St. Louis Cardinals, Pedro Strop from the Chicago Cubs. Next is Mike Moustakas from the Milwaukee Brewers, trying to pry away players from the NL Central, as you can see. Aaron Byers, prospect. Alex Jordan, prospect. Wellington Castillo, solid catcher. Spent some time in Arizona for a little bit. And then Connor Davis, another prospect. So all of these guys were offered 1 or 2 year deals. No multi-year contracts after 2 years for the big free agents. As you can see, Marcell Ozuna has accepted. He just had a really good year in St. Louis. Pedro Strop also accepts. Here are pretty much all the free agent signings. Billy Hamilton to the Atlanta Braves, Anthony Rendon of the Rangers, Garrett Cole to the LA Angels, and then look at all these trades. Anthony Rizzo to the Rockies, Joey Wendell to the New York Mets, Victor Mesa, the Rookie of the Year, to the Astros, Joey Votto to the Pirates, Josh Donaldson also ended up signing with the New York Mets, Jose Alvarado traded to the Texas Rangers for Jose Leclerc, and a prospect, Juan Pablo Martinez. So on to the Rule 5 draft. After making all those big moves, we really didn't think it was worth it to go after anyone. However, I said simulate draft, not skip picks, so the game did pick up Greg Bird. Billy Hamilton traded to the A's after he was just signed by Atlanta. Zach Greinke already being traded away by Oakland, a little bit of a surprise. And then the Diamondbacks going to make a little bit of a deal. This team needs some help in the bullpen, so Diego Castillo for Zach Godley, who had a pretty bad year last year, and then Greg Bird, who, as I mentioned, was part of a Rule 5 draft. So basically, Zach Godley straight up for a 24-year-old, really talented relief pitcher in Castillo. And then Andrew Chafin was flat out awful last year. He needs to go. He's going to the Rockies in exchange for an outfield prospect, Sam Hilliard. 25 years old, doesn't look too bad. Maybe can be a part of this team's future. So, one last move before the season starts. There needs to be another pitcher in the pen, so Brandon Kinsler would get offered. So here's the lineup for Season 2. Ozuna, Peralta, Lamb, Davis, Moustakas, Pavin Smith, Wilmer Flores, Wellington Castillo, and the pitcher spot. And then versus lefties, Ozuna, Castillo, Moustakas, Chris Davis, Peralta, Wilmer Flores, Pavin Smith, Jake Lamb, and the pitcher spot. And the rotation, Robbie Ray, Taijuan Walker, Touki Toussaint, John Duplantier, and Todd Woodruff. And then the bullpen, Frankie Montes will be the lone reliever. Middle relievers will be Silvino Bronco, Matt Andriese, and Brandon Kinsler. Setup men will be Diego Castillo and Pedro Strop. And then Archie Bradley will be the closing pitcher. So, this team spent $105 million this offseason, but in 2 years, that's only $18 million. So, definition of conservative, but trying to do somewhat decent now. This Diamondbacks team is going to be really solid next season. Next episode will be opening day in SunTrust Park against the Atlanta Braves. So make sure to stay tuned for that, and have a great day.